most welcome from Good Morning Family. It is now time for Issues at Hand. Remember, we are powered by Protea Hotel by Marriott in Entebbe, a place you should definitely find time and go and look out for because of what the services they offer. As I always mention, they have a very perfect gymming sessions, very perfect spa and sauna, very perfect food, accommodation. Everything is just to the standards, and of course, very, very affordable. The numbers are there on the screen. You could dial them or find time and go there for all those services that I've just listed. And in case you know any guests, you know we are having NAM and G77. In case you know any person and they are just wanting to be in very good places, just direct them to Protea Hotel by Marriott in Entebbe. My name is Luke Majumba Lenaitwe, and of course I'm sitting in for Karen Owamani, who is unavailable for now, but she will be joining us in the rest of the days, and of course here for Issues at Hand. Today we are discussing a little of politics, interesting because yesterday we had a meeting, a joint meeting for the opposition members, opposition political parties, and today I'm being joined by Mr. David Alira, who is the Secretary General of the People's Progressive Party, and he is going to be telling us what was the importance of this particular meeting. Why should why should the opposition really join in for combined meetings and all that? So we are going to be discussing a spotlight on the meeting of the opposition parties, and it is my pleasure to welcome you, sir, to Chat of Uganda Family TV and Issues at Hand particularly.
Thank you so much for having me this morning. It's a pleasure. It's my first time at Family TV, and I am glad I am here. Thank you.
Please greet the viewer out there.
And indeed, good morning to all of you, the viewers. It's a pleasure to interact with you this morning.
That is interesting. So, just like I noted, yesterday we had a joint meeting, right?
Yes.
For the opposition political parties. What is the importance, or particularly first, what was the agenda for this particular meeting?
Well, this particular meeting that took place yesterday, maybe I should make a correction from the word go. It was not necessarily a meeting, it was a presser.
Oh, yes.
We had a joint presser yesterday that was in Katonga Road. Katonga Road is, from a political angle, it is known more to be the office of what has always been known as the People's Government, where retired Colonel Besigye sits much of the time. And currently, it is also the office that hosts and unfortunately, I must say, a section of the FDC.
Yes.
As you're aware, the FDC has still got a bit of internal challenges here and there. So there is a group that sits in Anjanakumbi, and there is one that is being hosted at the Katonga office. So the FDC that sits in the Katonga office is the FDC that actually hosted the presser yesterday.
Oh, yes.
But it was a presser that brought in a number of political players, including us as the People's Progressive Party. We were there together with the National Unity Platform, NUP, the Alliance for National Transformation.
Yes.
That is ANT. And we're also joined by a section of the UPC and also DP in that meeting, and a number of other individuals who actually are part of the political processes in this country.
Okay.
So we had the presser yesterday. It was a joint presser. But I must also say that, one, it was not a one-off activity.
Okay.
Why? Because this is something that started way back. From other channels, news here and there, it has been reported as some form of a new formation, which is actually not right. It is not a formation of political parties in opposition. It is what we can call the usual activities, the processes that political parties in organizations go through. And like I said, it is not a one-off. It is something that actually started way back from as early as 2022. I think the first joint activity we had was in Hotel Africana, and that was around August 22nd, to be precise. So from that point, there has been internally some plannings that has been going on within the opposition players, and we also took a decision in that process that we would be actually having a lot more activities beginning this year. So this particular presser was nothing but one of the activities that we have decided to roll out this year, starting this January. So yes, yesterday was the presser, and there are a lot more activities that are going to unfold.
Okay, are we looking at the opposition working together this time?
Yes, in a greater sense. But also to say that opposition working together does not necessarily mean opposition coming, into some kind of a union that either undermines political parties as individual political parties. We're looking at opposition political parties realizing that yes, we have a common goal. We can be different in many ways. We can belong to different political institutions. We can have different ideologies, but at the moment there is a common goal that all of us are looking up to, and we're saying the activities that we can do together, we should do together. It doesn't mean that it is a merger, that we now leave our political parties and begin to work together as opposition. But that every time we feel that the activities we can do together that advance the cause that we believe in, that we stand for, we can come and work together. And that is exactly what we are doing. So it is a loose arrangement where opposition parties can just come together and say, okay, there is ABCD that we can work together on. And then we come, join up, and work together. But if that also lays a foundation that can allow us to even approach electoral programs jointly, then so be it. It would be a good thing still, because I also know that the country may want us to work together. But as of now, it is about jointly working together on agreed upon activities and things that cut across to all the political parties that may not necessarily be so much deeply ideological.
So now I think let us delve back into what to the presser yesterday. Do you what are some of the things the nation should look out for in regards to this particular presser? Why the presser, and what are things that are going to yield out of this?
Well, the presser yesterday was to mainly do two things. One, to inform the population that the opposition are actually connected and working together in one way or the other, that we are a team, and we're saying we are not walking away from one another, because there is a lot in the population. There's a lot of propaganda that we cannot work together, we are disunited, and all this. So yesterday was testimony that no, we are not necessarily against one another in the political sense, but as parties in opposition and institutions, individuals who are opposition like-minded, we are and still have that opportunity to work together. And so it was an information to the public that we are together, irrespective of being different political, parties, we can still work together, and we are working together on agreed programs. Two was also to announce some of the immediate activities that we are getting into. And starting this Thursday, we are rolling out a few activities. This Thursday, we are having a peaceful, democratic, lawful demonstration.
Okay.
And the demonstration is going to be on the infrastructure. We're looking at the roads, and we're saying it doesn't matter which political party you belong to. Roads are roads. If they are bad, they are bad. They are not going to choose whether you are NRM, FDC, PPP, NUP, or anything. You would still use the bad roads. And we are saying bad roads is a governance issue. And so we want to highlight and say, look here, you, the sitting government, you, the people who have got the powers today to provide services, there is an area here that you're taking for granted.
Okay.
The roads are bad, and we want to, cause that conscientization, if I can call it, in their minds to say, Ugandans need better roads. We have, talked about it over and over, and we're saying, can we possibly draw more attention in a form of a peaceful demonstration so that the powers that be get to understand that Ugandans are actually demanding for good roads. So that comes on Thursday.
So I understand we are all pretty aware that we have guests in the country. Is this the best time we can have a demonstration?
Well, first of all, like I earlier said, this is not a one-off activity. It is not something that we have planned simply because the guests are there.
It was planned long.
I already said that the plans started as way back as 2022. And we agreed that effective January of 2024, we will be rolling out a number of, activities.
Okay.
And so the guests have simply come in at a time when our programs were also, rolling out.
Okay.
But even then, let me just say this. All of us Ugandans are happy to have the guests around. And as a country, we must be proud that we are hosting guests at that level. And it's a good thing. But the coming of guests does not necessarily mean the services that we receive as a people, as a country, has been improved. And interestingly, about the guests, all the guests who have come, and I think you've seen police making announcements and all this, there are roads that has been, gazetted, if I could say, specifically for the visitors. Two things. One is that Ugandans are the taxpayers. These roads that are being constructed, much of it is on loan. We're using money that has been loaned to the country. And these loans, it is Ugandans to pay them. And so having visitors around does not necessarily mean that we, the Ugandans, must be denied the opportunity to freely use the roads. We are not at war with the visitors. And Ugandans are not known for being people who, are bad to visitors.
Yes, sure.
It would be a good thing for us to even line up and whoever the visitors and if you tell us the visitors are passing now, that's okay. We can pull on the roadside and have the visitors go. And then we continue using the roads normally. But we are told these ones don't use this, use the other. If you want to access that place, use the other, don't use this one. And we're saying we're the ones paying for the road. Why should you deny us because the visitors have come? That is one. But secondly, it's also interesting that the roads that have been gazetted for the visitors are only the good roads in Kampala. So we want to give the visitors an impression that Kampala is exactly what they are saying. Okay. The very good part of it we just recently, fixed because of the visitors, and we want to create that impression that yes, Uganda is exactly that. And we are saying no. Let's be honest to ourselves. Yes, we appreciate that there are those areas that have been worked on and they are good, and that's okay. But that is not what we are. We don't want our government to pretend to us and the visitors that everything is actually okay. Move away from the roads that have been gazetted and get the actual Uganda that the president and the NRM has presided over for the last 38 years. Full of potholes. Roads are extremely bad, and that is where we live, that is where Ugandans are. And we are saying, okay, if you're using this to portray to the world that Uganda is so, at the level you're trying to show, we are saying no. Let's be honest, let's show Ugandans and the world exactly the problems that we face. So we're going to carry out a peaceful demonstration. Okay. And we will look at the potholes. And so, we're saying, Ugandans, be free. This is our country. We're not doing anything wrong.
Yes.
Demonstration is a constitutional right. We don't want to be violent in any way. Just walk to where there is a pothole. If you have a banana, put there. If you have mayuni or something, plant there. If you have got... Find a way of filling the potholes.
When the government look at this as an inconvenience, because depending on the kind of event they are holding currently?
Again, on that, I'll point out two things. One, why would it be an inconvenience if it is the reality we live in? And also, if it is a constitutional right for the citizens to freely express themselves in a demonstration on things that they are not contented on. It shouldn't be an inconvenience. And we're not saying we want to cause war. We're not saying we want to fight. We're not saying we want you to come and throw stones at anybody. We're saying simply walk to where there is a pothole. Okay. Stand there. If you have a way of filling it, fill it. It is okay.
Now, let me ask. You understand we have a very young population in the country, and mostly when it comes to the opposition side, they are mostly known for being rowdy. How are you prepared to control these young lads during the demonstration?
The preparation starts with a call.
Okay.
It starts with the intention. Okay. When we come to a television like I am now and then call on Ugandans out there to say go demonstrate, use whichever means you have, okay, and whichever way you want to demonstrate, we would be making it open for people to do anything they want.
Okay.
We're saying this is a peaceful demonstration.
All right.
We do not want any confrontation with police. We don't want any confrontation with other political actors. We don't want you to throw stones at them. We are simply saying roads are bad. And we're not calling people to one spot to say all of you gather in this particular spot. So that there is a big, gathering of what you call young people, but of course roads are affecting all of us, young, old, or whoever. We're saying, wherever you have a pothole near you, please let everybody know that this spot has a pothole. It's terrible. It is becoming a lake in its own. You can't do anything here. Let us make the powers that be, local and at national level, to know that this is a problem to us.
Now, if that's the kind of setting, how will police be able to protect you? Because when you're having peaceful demonstration, you have to be having police. Will police be everywhere to protect these people?
But police is one of the institutions that are highly structured. Right from the national level down to, we have even community policing, very effective in this country. In every locality, there is a police unit, okay?
Yes.
And want to thank police for being that structured. And so, because it is not war, just get to know. In fact, you're free to pass around. The roads also affect the police. In fact, even the policemen, if they can see a pothole somewhere,
they feel it.
Let them help in filling it, because it is affecting all of us. And in that way, we protect ourselves. We're not out to cause any war. We're not out to confront anyone. No. And you who is watching out there and you feel like we feel, you do not have to go out and begin war. You don't have to go and cause commotion. Just go to where the pothole is. Stand there. If you have sugarcane plantation, let it stand there. And let's help the government realize that we need roads to be fixed.
Okay. And citizens are not supposed to get permission for these demonstrations. Will police accredit all these people wherever they are? I thought it was like one gathering, a demonstration and all that.
By the way, to demonstrate, being that it is a constitutional right, we do not even need necessarily permission to say, we're now going to demonstrate, please allow us. And otherwise, it ceases to be a right. It is a right. We can't choose to demonstrate on something that we are discontent on, and then simply let the police know. And that we are doing. We wouldn't be on a television so powerful like Family TV and then freely speak about it. If it was something that we want hidden, we would then be working, in a way that the police cannot track. Yesterday, the presser was open. And for your information, the police was all over.
Yes, sure.
And so there is nothing to hide about it, because we're not doing anything wrong. We're not attacking anyone. We're simply raising the level of consciousness, both in the population and the people who have got the powers to provide services to this country, to say, focus on this. Let's not pretend there is this problem. Let's not just say, everything is cozy, everything is good because visitors are there. There is this problem. And next week we'll be doing a prayer on Monday in Iganga.
Still united.
Still united. And I think on Tuesday the group will be heading to Alira. So it's not just about Kampala. It is about the country. It is about also letting people know that they have got a right to hold leaders accountable. They voted. We have got a government in place that is mandated to provide services, and we're saying you Ugandans have got a right, to hold these leaders accountable, to say, look, we have given you the right to collect our taxes, to provide us with the relevant services. These are problems that we expect you to be feeding into, to be rather working on. Why are you not doing it? If you're doing it, where are you doing it? At what cost? Accountability questions. These are things that must come from the population. But sometimes it takes leadership to do that. So we will go out, we will let people know it is a necessary thing to do.
All right.
Yeah.
That is interesting. We are still here with Mr. David Alira, who is the Secretary General of the People's Progressive Party. and we are discussing matters concerning that came out of the opposition joint presser, which was held yesterday at Katonga, where the FDC it could be FDC offices of the other section of FDC. So we're still discussing this. I will return shortly. Please do not go away.
Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
This is Church of Uganda Family TV, enriching lives. Issues at Hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
You're still watching Issues at Hand. Welcome back. Remember, we are powered by Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. We are discussing a spotlight on the joint meeting of the opposition parties, or you can call it a presser, which was held yesterday. And of course, with me here in studio is David Alira, who is the Secretary General of the People's Progressive Party. And now, going back to our discussion, this particular presser for yesterday. Some parties, I understand, some sections, okay, some parties, but sections. Majorly FDC na Janakumbi, we have DP that has Mao, we have UPC also. These parties came up and have an alliance somewhere with NRM. So are these parties also willing to join in this particular alliance as well?
Interesting. That's actually something that, to a great extent, speaks to the internal issues within the political parties, majorly in the opposition.
Yes.
I am glad that where I come from, we have not had those issues as yet, but it's a reality that we live with. When you are in a political environment such as ours, where you have got a president who has been in power for 38 years and has used all methods, all approaches, all tactics to stay in power.
Yes.
You expect such to come up in political parties. I must also say that not so long ago, the president of this country actually did say that he had promised that by actually now we would be not having political parties in opposition. And when a person of president makes a statement like that, you cannot take it for granted and just take it that, okay, it's just a political, statement, there is nothing in it. You get to understand that he's actually working around that. And we have seen things that speak to that in these political parties. The political parties that you have mentioned, particularly the FDC, I think that is the most recent, have got internal issues. And I am not here necessarily to speak about the internal, issues of these political parties. But there are things that are largely known in the population, that there are factions within these political parties, unfortunately. And we see that also in the UPC, where on the one side, there is a group that was led by Ambassador Otunu, and that is where we have got one faction now. At the moment, seemingly led by Walubiri, Council Walubiri. On the other side, there is Akena, Jim Akena, leading the party. And so is with, of course, the FDC, where you have got one side led by the Lord Mayor, Elias Lukwago, as its president, and then the other, Amuriat Oboy. And so we see that also coming up in DP, where the DP bloc, apparently led by Dr. Lulumi, is also on the one side, and then there is Mao on the other side. It is an unfortunate situation, to be honest. Very, very unfortunate, and it is my hope that these parties will find a way of harmonizing their positions so that they come out as one, as a political party. But like I was saying, these are testimonies to the fact that there are factors playing internally in political parties that we do not know. Because in a normal circumstance, it is possible for people who subscribe to the same ideology, people who are bound together by same values, to understand one another. The mere fact that that understanding is not there, and there is a division that we see, points to some of us, it points to what the president said.
Yes.
We will not be there.
Yeah, sure.
We will not be there. So it is not far-fetched to even say that this could be the workings of some powers to just make sure that the unity, the strength of political parties are undermined. And yes, in your question, or rather to be direct to your question, we are now faced with a situation where in one political party, one section is saying we are the true opposition. Another is saying we are also the main opposition. Then one side says, for you are with the NRM. We know you. Okay, you're with the NRM. Another says, we are the genuine, leaders. For you are the ones who are masqueraders, and you must be the ones with the NRM. You're the ones working for the president. So we have got that in every of these political parties that have got these challenges, there is a section that are actually willing to work with, what they call the forces of change, to push for the agenda of change. Now, that does not mean that the other section is not for change.
Oh, yes.
They are also
For change.
for actually change as well. And where I am seated, I am privileged to work with whichever side you can refer to here.
Oh, yes.
Because for me, coming from the People's Progressive Party, we want to look at our colleagues in other institutions as colleagues. We cannot be the ones to determine who is who amongst them.
Yes.
They are a party. We want to look at them as one party, divided as they may be. And so we cannot take sides to say, for you, Walubiri, we cannot work with you.
Okay.
We can only work with so and so. Okay? From institutional point of view, we want to work with the institution. And so if you belong to the same institution, our prayer will always be that you find a way to harmonize so that you're together as
One.
As one.
So in this particular unity, do you think there could be some a way to forge a bond between these parties that have split?
It is something that we have kept on trying, incidentally.
Now I'm looking at a party like FDC. Do you think these two can even come back together? Because it seems like everyone is independent on their own.
It is my hope that they'll find a way to come together. Unfortunately, I cannot speak, for them. But as a player in the political, journey in this country, the more they work together as a unit, the better for the entire, opposition. And we have made calls. We have written to the FDC. We, as People's Progressive Party, officially wrote to the FDC to say, look here, divided as you are, it doesn't help the opposition or the opposition, cause. We want you united. We cannot be happy and smile when you're disunited simply because possibly we want to take political capital. No. You are Ugandans, we are Ugandans. We may have different, differences in our ideologies, but we know that there are so many people who subscribe to your, ideology and your values,
Yes.
and they are Ugandans. We want to care about that. But we also know that when you're disunited, there is that portrayal placed on the entire opposition. They begin to say the opposition is confused, the opposition is disunited, simply because you have issues. So we have written to them and said, find a way to harmonize your positions. We even proposed solutions, said you can go beyond just your party members. This country also has elders who can, help us harmonize these positions. Can we find third parties to say, come together, if there is this and that, solve it, have some dialogue. But again, it is up to them to either take it on or choose not to. We do our part and let them do their part.
Yeah.
But for issues governance, for issues that affect Ugandans, we're not going to wait for you, DP, to get united.
Oh, yes.
We're not going to wait for you, UPC, to get united, or the FDC to get united, because the issues are here with us. We are going to call on you to say, come where we can. Let's join hands and let's jointly work on ABCD, which is what we are doing now with even Forces for Change. We're saying, let's get together on issues that affect all of us, whether you are FDC Najanakumbi or FDC Katonga. It is a reality that lives with us. Let's get together, let's work together, let's try to push for a good thing for Ugandans.
All right. So how further do you think this collaboration is going to address political issues, majorly underlying in the opposition?
The opposition political parties, just as the name suggests, is in the opposition. It is not the party in government. Service provision is expected of a party that has been given mandate to govern. Our work is to monitor that. Our work is to call on them to say, you're doing well here, you're not doing well here. Our work is to say, you've failed here, and in our own judgment, the way you're doing your things, you're not going to lead us there where we all want to go. And so periodically we even come in to say, please, can you stay aside? Give us the opportunity to do what you have failed to do. So the far service provision can go is largely dependent on the government, on the party that is in power, that has formed the government. And therefore, the extent to which we can go in ensuring that these services are provided well is only to the extent we can push government to do it.
Okay.
So part of this peaceful demonstration we are talking about is one of pushing government. We're saying, work on the roads. If you cannot work on the roads, we will cause the population to rise up and say, work on the roads, because you're working on our behalf as Ugandans, as citizens. We are paying you to do that work. We are paying taxes and giving you that money to do that work. And so we want you to do it. Okay. And now the more we push, the more we expect them to respond by actually doing the work. You know, not so long ago, there was a social media campaign on the bad roads in Kampala.
Potholes.
Potholes.
Yeah.
And we were exhibiting the potholes in Kampala, and it went viral. You know that the president came up.
Yes, they reacted.
And even allocated money in billions immediately to have the roads fixed.
Yes.
Okay? that was because there was a call, there was a population concern and rising to say things are not good. But we're also saying, even when he allocated the very little 6 billion shillings, I think at the time, it did nothing. It did nothing. And we're saying, even the parts that you're doing are shoddy. Roads that should span over years, they will do it today. Less than 1 year down the road, they already, holes everywhere, potholes everywhere, and they are patching here and there. And we're saying, no. We give you money to do good job. Can you please do it?
Yes.
And unfortunately, the money that they actually put in the roads is enough to do very good work. But the work is not to that standard. And we're saying, where is the problem? What that also speaks to is that a bigger part of that money ends up somewhere that we don't know. So elements of corruption now comes in. It means there are people pocketing this money.
All right.
Okay?
Yes.
And we're saying, no. Do roads, do good roads. We don't want to see these corruption tendencies. And so corruption is a big factor for us. So even these demonstrations, when we are doing them, it is also to highlight that point. Because if you have money and you're doing roads that break tomorrow, then what is this? We have historical facts. In as early as 60s, the Obote government did roads. To date, there are parts in this country where the roads that Obote did are still visible.
Yes.
Still visible. We're talking of so many years down the road. Today, the roads that are being made, and good enough, the people watching are Ugandans, they also understand this very well. They use these roads. Roads are made today, 1 year down the road, in fact, less than a year, they are fixing the same roads. And yet, money has been spent. And we're saying you're not doing a good job. So on issues such as those, we're saying it doesn't matter whether you belong to FDC Katonga or FDC Najanakumbi. I hate to even say those words because they should be one.
Sure.
Whether you belong to UPC Walubiri or UPC Akena, we're saying as people with, a mind for change, where we can work together to cause government to, respond to this, we must. And that was the call yesterday. And that is the call of forces of change.
All right.
Working together to push for what we can achieve for the people of this country.
Okay.
But that should also lead us to a point where we will say, if you have failed, please give way.
Okay.
Let us manage it. Because Uganda is not devoid of good leaders. There's so many leaders out there. Leadership is an opportunity. If you have been given, you're expected to do your best. If you don't, give room to others who can do it, and we carry on. The country is ours.
All right.
Yeah.
And now, speaking of United Forces of Change, what is the kind of hierarchy in there? Does every political party have the same? Can I say, are you all on the same level, or there is someone in charge of this?
No, there is no specific individual in charge.
Okay.
That is also something that I have seen reported around, be it in social media or even in other traditional media stations. There are those who are saying, this is Bobi Wine. He's the one in charge of this, simply because NUP is part of it. And as it stands today, he's presiding over the leading opposition in the country. Others are saying that is nothing but the usual work of basic. Okay.
Yes.
Forces of change is more like a platform,
Okay.
that a forum actually, that brings together political parties in the opposition. So if there is anything topmost, it is that council that brings together the heads of these political institutions. It's more like a summit.
Okay.
Decisions are taken in that meeting of the political leaders. It is a meeting that we call a meeting of principles. So the principles of each participating party sit together, take decisions, decide on which activities, of course in consultation with their political institutions. And then whatever is agreed on becomes an activity of forces of change.
Okay.
And that is how it's working. So it doesn't belong to any individual or any political party.
Okay.
It is a forum for all of us. Yes.
And where is iPod in this?
Interesting. iPod is a platform for political parties
All political.
with representation in parliament. And I am glad to also belong to the iPod. Not just as a party, but also as an individual. Because in the hierarchy of iPod, the most, the day-to-day monitoring of day-to-day activities of the iPod is placed in the Council of Secretary Generals. So by virtue of my position,
Oh, yes.
I sit in the Council of the Secretary Generals, and so I belong to the iPod. Now, iPod, because it is an institution, it is a platform that brings political parties in parliament. It also has the NRM.
Yes.
So NRM, which is the party in power, also sits in iPod.
iPod, yes.
Forces of Change does not have NRM.
Okay.
It is actually working to push NRM
Yes.
either to do what is right or to even leave power. With iPod, the workings are different. We are saying as a country, irrespective of who is governing and who is out, what is good for us?
Okay.
Can we, agree on certain things for the good of the country, together with you, who even has the mandate to do this? And it is so much into legislation, of course addressing also political impasses and all that. It's a wonderful platform. But where iPod fails, Forces of Change comes in.
Okay.
Because we can sit and negotiate and dialogue and agree, and then you don't do a thing about it. And when you don't do a thing about it, we are not going to say, okay, iPod, now we are going to demonstrate, and you are part of us. You will be demonstrating against who? So where iPod fails, these formations come in.
Oh, okay.
And that is where the difference is.
Okay.
Otherwise, yes, iPod is good. I do not subscribe to the thinking that it's a platform that is not necessary. As an individual, I don't subscribe to that.
Okay.
I actually feel it is a very, very important platform. It is a platform that we need to make the best use of. In fact, if we can have it more effective than it is, then possibly there wouldn't even be need for Forces of Change, for PFT, for all these formations that have been there.
Okay.
There would be no need. But because it does not live up to the the expectation as it should be, there are gaps. These groups then come into filling those gaps.
Okay, maybe as we conclude, because time is fast spent, give us your last words to the people out there.
Thank you. Uganda is ours. We have got one country. It doesn't matter whether you left Uganda and went to the US or to the UK or wherever. You cannot change history. You will still be considered a Ugandan. The parties in opposition are nothing but institutions for Ugandans. And therefore, all that we do is for the good of Ugandans generally. And therefore, the thinking that the opposition is just opposing for nothing is something that we need to, look into critically. We're working for the betterment of Uganda. We are filling gaps, and we are calling on government to do what it should do for the country. And where they fail, we are saying, give us a room to do better. And that is what the opposition is, and that is what the People's Progressive Party believes in. Otherwise, it has been an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. David Alira, for accepting the invitation to come and share with us a spotlight of what transpired yesterday. Indeed, the opposition is working for the betterment of the nation. So in case they table something, please, those responsible can really respond positively towards that. We appreciate that you have joined us since morning. Good morning, family, and then we transform to issues at hand. We appreciate that you have truly joined us. It's me, Luke Majumba Lenaito, sitting in for Carol Noaman here. Issues at hand, sponsored by Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe, a place you should go and visit during these days, and of course take someone there. Take these guests who are around the nation to enjoy that particular interesting atmosphere at Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. From us, it is a nice day.
Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.